This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Yeah, what's happening? We bout to bring that action. Gotta hold it down for my Seattle Kraken. Ay, we going beneath the waves. We going beneath the waves. Get it hype, step onto the ice. Ready for some action. Release the Kraken. Ay, we going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Beneath the Waves podcast, your weekly recap of all things Seattle hockey and beyond. I am Matt.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Derek. Before we get going on this week's very exciting breakdown of Kraken hockey, I would like to take a few seconds to shout out BTW's own Heather. She just wrote a new article for the Hockey News Women's 5 days ago outlining the top 3 PWHL Seattle games that are a must to go to. If you're interested in dipping your toes into the brand new exciting franchise that is PWHL Seattle kicking off this year, go check out that article. Once their season is in full swing, Heather will continue to provide updates as episodes that we will publish on BTW, and you can also always find her work for the Hockey News Women's in our show notes. Back to you, Matt.
All right, for us over here, we are now on to episode 41 of the BTW pod. And boys, Kraken hockey is back, all in caps, bolded and underlined. We are back in it, and my oh my, isn't it an amazing time to be a Kraken fan? On today's episode, we're going to be recapping the first 2 games of the regular season. We'll catch up on some other Kraken news, and we'll have a preview of week 2 of the 2025-26 season. Before we get into that, however, it's been a very busy week since we last recorded. First of all, we're recording this on Monday the 13th. So Alex, to you, I extend a happy Canadian Thanksgiving, or as we call it, Thanksgiving. And I hope that you had just a weekend full of turkey and stuffing and all the fixins.
Yeah, I never want to touch a turkey again until at least Christmas, but happy Thanksgiving, the true and only Thanksgiving, to you and to all my fellow Canadians listening here.
Derek, how did you celebrate Thanksgiving?
I think I took a couple dumps. I think I watched an American baseball team absolutely dominate a Canadian baseball team. It was a pretty good weekend.
Nice. So we last year did a Thanksgiving special. We'll save it for American Thanksgiving. But I do want to say that I am Canadian thankful for the 18 Canadians that we have on this roster this season. There is a good chunk, 18 of 26 that I counted up on the Kraken site. So big shout out to them. Derek, you just mentioned you watched an American team beat down a Canadian baseball team, and it's a good time to not just be a Seattle Kraken fan, but a Seattle sports fan in general. The Mariners are crushing it right now, and you were actually at Game 5 on Friday night. Take us through what that was like.
Yeah, I went to Game 5 of the ALDS. On Thursday, the day before, I was just browsing the Game Time app. No sponsorship, but the Game Time app. I had never used it before, but I saw some tickets in 346, which is like pretty much the furthest away from the action you can get, in the very last row up against the glass. And I wasn't gonna go, but I called my dad, and it seemed to like make his day at the idea. So bought tickets for me, him, and my mom. So all 3 of us went. We got up there really early. The atmosphere was great, and I'd say I've been to like roughly 30 Mariners games in the last 4 or so years. Me and one of my friends go to a lot of the value games where the tickets are like $10 each. And it felt like this game walking in was sort of like a culmination of all of those experiences. That's what it felt like before the game. Like the same grass and the same dirt that I'd seen so many, terrible, awful performances and great performances on was like turned into this battlefield that guaranteed only one team was going to leave alive that night. Like honestly, it felt kind of dark like the stadium just felt dark inside and like kind of gloomy, like intense, but also super exciting. And I stood on my feet for every single pitch of this game. It lasted 5 hours. I would sit down in between innings, but I had this thing like I couldn't be sitting for a pitch. Like every single foul ball that we got, every strike that our pitchers got, like I was screaming at the top of my lungs. It was an insane game. Like in the second batter of the game, when you're screaming for a foul ball, like that was the atmosphere here. And getting deflated with the home run against, but then getting that run for each of those RBI hits that we had are just going to be burned into my brain. And like any game that I go to in the future, I'll have this like history at this ballpark of being like, hey, I saw that Leo Rivas hit land right there, like in this field. So just an absolutely insane memory. Everyone was willing to be there until 5 a.m. There was nothing like it. And it honestly felt like one of those like once in a lifetime type things. And I'm just so glad I was able to do it.
And you for sure got your money's worth with that, getting basically almost two complete baseball games played.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
yeah. I was telling my dad, I'm like, hey, we're racking up like lifetime playoff innings watched right now. Let's go.
All right. Well, as of today, the Mariners are up 2-0 over the Blue Jays. So heading back home, we'll see if they can sweep it out. I have publicly denounced my Canadianness in favor of my adopted sports town of Seattle. So for this
Appreciate it.
short period of time, I am committing myself to be a Mariners fan. So I don't know. You've been trash talking me over text saying like, this is what this means. This is what this means. So I'm figuring out. We're getting there.
Let's
We're
go.
getting there.
As someone who has no loyalty to the Blue Jays, I'm a complete neutral in this because I'm not going to tell you who my actual baseball team is. Uh, but in this, yeah, if the Mariners do win this, I'd be okay with that. No problem
Hold up.
whatsoever.
Hold up. Who's your baseball team? Now you got to say it now.
No, I already know I'm going to be criticized for it.
It's that bad?
No, it's probably not. But I've been cheering for the team for like almost 25 years at this point. I'm a Red Sox fan.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm not any of that. Like, yeah, I'm a Boston Red Sox fan, but like, you know, they're already eliminated. So like, in some way, I can't cheer for like the Jays because they're in the same division. So and also they're Canada's team, but at the same time, I'm like meh. So like honestly, if Seattle makes it to the World Series, I'd be ecstatic. They haven't made a World Series ever, so that'd be something so cool to witness and be able to like listen in from like people, you know, within Seattle that are like, I've been going to games for years and this is finally happening.
The only reason I would root for the Jays is I hope they do well, but Seattle does better because if the Jays do well, we get discounts at Tim Hortons the next day. So for example,
Nine
in
hits,
yesterday's game, it was if they get nine or more hits, you get like $1 for an ice cap
ice
or something
caps.
like that.
Do you remember how many hits they got?
I don't remember.
I think
It
it was
wasn't that.
two.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
two.
So no cheap ice caps today at the Tim Hortons drive-through.
Womp
All
womp.
right. That's our ball talk. Let's shift over some hockey, and we're gonna kick off things first with a new segment this week that I'm calling Money Puck Around and Find Out. Do we like that name? Is that a good name?
Work in progress.
I
Work
think
in
I hear
progress.
crickets chirping.
I'll think of like a jingle to put on. It's like, are we doing well? Are we out of luck? Let's check in with Money Puck.
Let's go. I'm
All
just a
right.
Bill. I'm just a Bill vibes.
That's sweet. All right, Alex, what is our current Money Puck status? Last week we were at 14.5% to make playoffs. How do things look this week?
Well, after two dubs to start off the season, the Seattle Kraken have a whopping, drumroll please, 25.4%. Yes, you heard that right. I actually checked again because the last time I tweeted it out, clearly I could not see the numbers correctly. And Derek very very
Kindly.
much advised me that I was blind, which that's saying something. But to confirm this week, at this current moment, with 2 wins on the year and 0 losses and 0 overtime losses, the Seattle Kraken have a 25.4% chance to make the playoffs. Now, from seeing this, we have a chance.
We do. We do have a chance. And as you said, we are 2-0. We have an undefeated season on our hands? What are the vibe checks in the room? What is working so well for us so far this season that we beat Vegas, which I think we counted ourselves out about last week?
I mean, like, could the vibes really be any better right now in terms of like a vibe check? But I like the key here, right? Number one, that I tweeted this out on the main account today, but the Kraken have allowed a league best of only 2 goals against, and no other team is really close. We're tied for first in the Pacific in points, going undefeated so far. Vegas has 3 games played, and we're the only 2 teams in the Pacific with 4 points. We only have 2 games played. We've dominated each game in expected goals. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So when you really look under the hood, these games aren't really a fluke. Looks really good right now. Joey's looked great, and I want to give a huge shout out to a specific guy here who has caught my eye big time from the very start of this season, and that's Matty freaking Beniers, baby. Boy, does he look like he took about 5 steps up this offseason. Not even talking about the Vegas game yet. Just the Ducks game alone had me texting all of my friends, like, who is this guy? He's definitely a lot more involved than it felt like he was the last couple of years. And at 22 years old, we really need to take a step back and think of what he could be like, this year, next year, when he's 24, 25. Could be extremely elite by that point. All that to say, though, I love what I'm seeing out of him right now. And a huge stat for Beniers right now is that when he's on the ice, the Kraken get a team high 56% of shot attempts through the first 2 games. That's absolutely huge. The Beniers McCann Eberle line is absolutely cooking as well. And we'll talk about that picturesque tic tac toe goal later.
So regarding what I'm thinking, the vibe check right now is I'm quite pleasantly happy with what's going on. Joey Decord is an absolute brick wall. Can't deny that in any way, shape, or form. He's been lights out anytime, whether it was the Ducks or it was Vegas. Also got to give a shout out to the defense. This team can defend. I know it's a very small sample size of 2 games, but huge contrast to what we saw last year and the years previously under Hackstall and Dan. So like I got no complaints in that department. Like you're actually witnessing Adam Larson like play like a solid role. Like he doesn't look lost, which is really really nice. Same with Jamie Olesiak. Like he's actually playing a game where you're looking at it being like, oh, he's contributing in a lot more ways than he was beforehand. And I think that's the way that they're playing the game. Defense really is coming first, and it might not be the prettiest hockey, but it's hockey that's going to win you games. So between those two, have nothing to complain about. Player that I've been love watching is Jared McCann. It looks like he's finally back on the score sheet where his wrist or whatever the injury that was ailing him last season, it's back to 100%. He is doing exactly what you need to get in your top goal scorer. So hats off to him. I'm ecstatic with that. And Jordan Eberle, I don't know. Like I feel like we're gonna have a solid season out of him. I know, like I said, small sample size, but he's given me solid captain, like good year vibes from him this year. I'm excited.
I'm really glad that Derek brought up Matty Beniers because he's definitely been my standout in these first 2 games. He has 3 points in the 2 games played. So we wanted him to hit his stride and get things going. And it seems like, at least to start, he's hit his stride and things have started going. So hopefully that momentum can continue. And I'm really liking the new guys that have come along. Mason Marshman had a goal in that first game, which we love to see. Matt Murray was the backup for game 2, so he bumped Philly Grease Steaks from that spot just in case he had to go in. And Ryan Lindgren, I think, seeing him paired up with Brandon Montour, like I didn't see any glaring things out of Ryan Lindgren to start. So things are starting to mesh. We seem more aggressive than passive, which we have been in the last little bit. We could still shoot more. God, I hate seeing like 17-5 shot differentials in a period. That's not good. But 2-0, we can't complain about 2-0. Yes, Derek.
One more quick thing. What about the fact that this team is doing this so far without Capo Caco and without Riker Evans? How do you guys feel about that?
I cannot wait till Capo Caco gets his sweater back on. And sorry, like Ryan Winterton, love you, dude. You're doing pretty good so far, with the exception for that penalty that you took. But when Capo Caco's back in, like it's gonna be absolutely nutty.
Yeah, it's kind of scary to see what this team is doing, even with a couple injuries on this team. Like Capo is going to come in, and once he's like back to like 100%, that's another player that really will dominate. The fact that he did so well with Beniers last season really then makes you think, being like, well, if the McCann Beniers Eberle line is clicking, where does Capo go? And you start wondering, okay, so who's that going to bump, or do we start changing it up again? Because if lines are working out, you're going to have to add this new player who is quality. So it's going to be one of those questions where Lane Lambert's going to have to kind of figure that out, and hopefully at that point it won't be too hard to decipher and just decide as to who the odd man out is going to be. Unfortunately, I think it's either going to be Yanni Newman or Ryan Witterton. It's going to be one of the two. My bet's on Yanni Newman just by the sheer numbers as to what he's been playing. But I'm excited to see. You're going to slot him in. Hopefully Riker Evans gets, when he's back fully fit. You pop him in. Even bottom pairing on the defense. That's another guy who, if he is going to be ready to play, he's going to add an additional level to the defensive lines there.
I'm just looking here right now, or as of the last game, Ryan Winterton was paired up with Chandler Stevenson and Mason Marchment, and then Yanni Newman was with Ty Cartier and Freddie Goudreau. So
Maybe you move Winterton down to the fourth, and then slot what's his Kako in there. I don't know.
yeah, or you put Kako on 2 and bump Tolvi down to 3, and then
Oh,
bump
right,
Winterton
right.
down to 4.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But any way you slice it, that's a pretty good piece to put back into the puzzle that we have. That's going to take us now into the first of those 2 games that we won. This one came against the Anaheim Ducks, which is a 3-1 win. Year 5 of the Seattle Kraken franchise kicked off with that 3-1 win. We had the team intros to start the game. It was awesome seeing everyone skate out once again. No surprise captains this time. Last time, Jordan Eberle came out with the C on his chest that blew everyone away, except for the people that saw the roster that leaked like 5 minutes before the game started. We once again had very loud cheers for Jess Campbell behind the bench, which we love to see, especially because it makes so many people irrationally mad, but I love to see it. Scoring opened just over 2 minutes into the game as Vince Dunn lit the lamp, and as is Kraken tradition, the Ducks responded only a few minutes later and tied things up. But from that point on, it was all Kraken. The second frame saw Mason Marchment score his first goal in a Kraken sweater with just an awesome assist from Brandon Montour. Dude just marched it down the ice, skated into the corner, and then just lasered it over to Mason Marchment. It was great. And then in what I feel is probably one, I'd have to look at the highlight reels more, but one of my favorite Kraken goals of all time. This goal was crazy. It started with Ebbs shooting the puck off into the corner of the boards to Maddie, who just no look, nonchalant passed it net front where Jared McCann was waiting, and he put it in the back of the net. It was the smoothest thing. It made me jump off of my couch. It was absolutely crazy. This goal marked the 4th time in 5 seasons that Jared McCann has scored in a season opener, so that's a pretty wild stat. This also marked the first time that the Kraken have ever won a season opener, which is also a pretty wild stat. And in this game, Joey played the entire thing and had a save percentage of 972. Great things all around. We've talked about it kind of broadly, but how do we feel about this game specifically?
Definitely, there was a couple of concerns in this game. I don't know why. Like, it just seemed like that first period we were lacking severely. But they were really quickly to turn it back around in a positive spin. Vince Dunn just doing what Vince Dunn does best. That's just firing clap bombs from the point. Got nothing but love for Vinny Dunny there. And then I know that sounded terrible.
Yeah, no.
But Jared McCann doing what Jared McCann does. And like you said, Matty Beniers is kind of doing some stuff that he wasn't even doing over the last couple of years. Like, it's a completely new level that he's hit. Early season, I know, but I'm excited to see what he's been doing. And yeah, Joey just lights out with a 972 save percentage. It's just absolute ludicrous there. But I'm very happy that the Kraken won their opening game this season. I don't know if I'd been able to accept or take 0-5 in an inaugural season, or sorry, in like,
Technically, it'd be like 0-4-1, but yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
but like, could you imagine being like,
Still winless.
oh, it would be just be
I
brutal.
know.
So I'm glad that they were actually able to pull it off, and like the fact that we're still one of the NHL's perfect teams is something to really
Yep.
shine, put into like the little box and be like, yeah, they called us perfect.
Yeah, game one of the season took me by surprise for sure. The Kraken came out in the first period, and I know a lot of us were probably like, oh boy, like another season of this going on. This is not good. But the way that the team stood on their heels and found something in the second period that's really like carried up until the moment that we're talking right now, is kind of beyond me. I feel like that's kind of new in terms of the last couple of years. Talk about a perfect start to the season. I've been on absolute cloud nine since the second period of the first game. I even texted my mom that I'm on cloud nine right now watching this Kraken game. I think I texted Matt that too. But winning our first home opener needed to happen, so I'm glad we did that. Vince Dunn becoming the third defenseman in history to score back-to-back season opening goals for a team. Let's go. That's a Kraken stat right there. So any time capsule participants, keep that in mind for next year's predictions. Who cares about if Florida could three-peat? Can he three-peat? That's the real question, okay? In all seriousness, I think this was a sloppy game that we powered through. Mason Marchment, in a post-game interview, talked about the need for the team to play a more cohesive game and noted how things were pretty sloppy and it felt sloppy. And we'll talk about where that went in game two. Spoiler alert, I think we look a lot less sloppy already. But expected goals in this one were 3.5 Kraken to 2.75 Ducks. So the Kraken of really all of their lifetime have rarely won the expected goals battle, it feels like. So this may be a very encouraging statistic. And another encouraging statistic here, Joey only allowed one goal this game. So through one game, he was already at a whopping top 10, 1.75 goals saved above expected. And that Montour play, oh my God. Dude is a one-man show. Marchment came in to do Marchment things and house that puck, but Montour got down there himself, like Matt said, peeked over his shoulder a couple seconds before and delivered a perfect no-look pass to Mush. Monty Mania and Mush crossover, by the way. So bit.ly/BTW store. Go pick up a sticker of each of them because they did a little crossover there.
And you can get a Joey one too. Get the whole squad. One
There you
thing
go.
I should mention about this as well. After the game happened, we had the debut of our new Player of the Game award. There is no more $600 piece of trash Fanatics WWE Championship belt. Just hucked it off one of those harbor cruises that you can go on. We now have, courtesy of owner Jerry Bruckheimer, a helmet that was used in the F1 movie starring Brad Pitt. So it seems only fitting that the first one went to Joey Decord for his performance. He just looked so happy and so giddy with that. I don't like it as much as I like the Davy Jones hat because I feel that was more on brand for us, but I do like that we no longer have that garbage belt.
How great was it that Joey won it though? Like out of all people on the Kraken to win like the first night, especially with it being Formula One, is Joey. Like that I thought was great because he's such a Formula One freak. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hockey is back, and this season, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, brings you all the speed, skill, and nonstop action you love. New customers, bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. I had a little trivia question I wanted to throw your way here regarding Mason Marchment. So we can like bounce this one back and forth, whoever wants to start it. With a goal in his first regular season game as a Kraken, Mason Marchment becomes the 11th player in franchise history to score in their first game with Seattle. Can you name the other 10? In their first game in a Kraken sweater, they scored. Okay, Derek wants to answer first.
Matty Beniers?
No. Alex, do you have a guess?
Yanni Newman.
Yes, that is one.
Ty Cartier.
That is two.
Jared McCann.
Yep, that's three.
Ryan Donato.
Yep, that's four.
Oh yeah. Oliver Bjorkstrand?
Yes, that is another one.
Coolman.
Nope.
I'm trying to
Three
think
of these guys were shipped off last season.
Yanni.
Nope.
Will Borgen.
Nope.
Wait, what?
Bjorkstrand
was
is one.
shipped off last year. I thought it was just Bjorkstrand.
Who did we celebrate being sent away?
Burakovsky?
Burakovsky's one. Who else did we celebrate going away?
Who did we celebrate going away?
This garbage
It's
attitude. We got
crazy.
out of here.
Daniel Sprong.
Daniel Sprong.
Spronger? No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then one guy who was only around for like a month and a half.
Oh, is it Barboulet?
No. Of the group that we had last
Uh-oh.
season that got sent away.
We sent a guy away last year who was only here for a month and a half.
Yes.
Mikey Asamont.
Yep.
Oh, good pull. Good pull. I already forgot about that guy.
And then the other two, just to bring this to a merciful end, is Ellie Tolvanen and Morgan Geeky.
Dang.
The $5.5 million man now.
Yeah.
I like that. That was interesting.
Okay, yeah, we'll see how many people maybe playing along at home could have gotten that. And I'm definitely going to edit out the 45 seconds of dead air as Alex was counting his ceiling tiles.
I was thinking, okay.
Please do.
All right. Game 2 of our 2-0 start was against the Vegas Golden Knights. It was a 2-1 overtime win. We were pretty nervous about this one last week, but we ended up coming away with a huge W in this game. After a very uneventful first period, Matty Beniers netted the first goal on the power play with an amazing between the legs pass from Jordan Eberle. It was very cool to see. Gonna try not to butcher this name. Pavel Dorofeyev nailed it, who already has 5 goals on the season, including 4 on the power play, tied things up following a penalty to Ryan Winterton. So shame on Ryan Winterton for that one. That took us to overtime, where Jared McCann scored his second goal in 2 games with 3.8 seconds remaining in the overtime period. Some notable things from this game included Joey putting up another stellar performance at 963, Brandon Montour laying a monster hit on Ben Hutton and then dropping the gloves and feeding him some punches. And as I mentioned before, Matt Murray was the backup in this game, which is kind of an interesting thing that we are monitoring as the season goes. We didn't have high hopes for this game when it came around, but how are we feeling now that it has come to a close?
Yeah, I'd say that this game, to echo something Alex said earlier, was a defensive and goaltending battle. The Kraken defense has looked pretty good so far, and looking good against, the Ducks is one thing, but looking good against Vegas is a whole nother thing. So that's huge. The expected goals here were 3 points. Hold on. This needs to be a little more dramatic. 3.72 to 2.42 Kraken. Okay, and this is to the Vegas Golden Knights, like bona fide top 5 team in the West or whatever. Everyone's like, oh, they're locked to be in the cup or whatever. I bet Dom Luchison says, ooh, they're locked to be in the cup. All right, well, 3.72 to 2.42 Kraken. Like I said, it's one thing to do that to the Ducks, but this is a pretty decent ownage of our expansion counterpart with the Vegas Golden Knights, only allowing 2.42 expected goals against. With Joey in net is a recipe for success. And once again, Joey delivered. He balled out and this time saved 1.42 above expected. And he's now sitting at, I believe, ninth among all goaltenders in goals saved above expected. Also, a huge shout out to Aiden Hill, though, of the Knights for saving nearly 2 goals over expected. Um, the Kraken beat both of their first two opponents in expected goals. And if this continues to be the case where we under-deliver on that number, like we're scoring less than we're expected, it could suggest some finishing problems. Basically put that we would be setting up really good chances, but struggling to actually have the skill to shoot the puck into the net, which definitely has happened for the Kraken before at times. So that's something to watch. I think through these first two games, as I kind of alluded to in our vibe check, I'd say that the players standing out to me the most are Beniers, McCann, Decord, and Montour in that order. I'd say that those are like the four top guys so far. And things are looking nice if you're a Kraken fan. Even when you look under the hood at the expected goals, we may have found a new system that's clicking, or maybe it's just Matt's new game day rituals that's saving us right now. But in all honesty, it's super early. But we're one of the four perfect teams remaining. And I've been saying for years that the beauty of the way the Kraken are built is you really never know how a season is going to go for them right now. We have a ton of guys with mid to high ceilings and mid to low floors, anchored by a goaltender with a Vesna ceiling and a top 15 goalie floor so far. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
Just to kind of echo, one of the things I just want to bring up what Derek said is that we might have a finishing problem, but when I look at our Finnish players of Eli Tolvanen, Capo Caco, you know, forgetting the other guy in this brief moment, Yanni Newman, I don't think we have a Finnish problem. I think we have a finishing problem because those three guys can certainly score. So hopefully we'll just have, that will pick up later on as we go. But as we continue on into this game, whenever you can tell a Vegas Golden Knight fan to shut the hell up because we beat them, it's music to my ears. And boy, we beat the Vegas Golden Knights. Sadly, Matt and I had to watch the Vegas Golden Knight feed because Sportsnet Plus, when they charge you $350 a year, doesn't give you the option to choose which stream you want to watch. So we had to listen to that. However, it was great to hear them whine. I will say that. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Moving forward, Jordan Eberle's pass to, Matty Beniers was just chef's kiss in every single way. Absolutely love that. Joey Decord does what Joey Decord does best. Derek mentioning the fact that he does have the ceiling of a Vesna caliber goaltender to, top 15. Like that's something that we do have in Joey this year. And we did have that last year, I would even argue. And I think the other brilliant part about this entire game was when Jared McCann scored the game winner. Everyone got to witness what Mitch Marner does best, and that is do horribly in the defensive zone. So, I hope Vegas really does enjoy that huge overinflated contract for years to come. But there's a lot of positives in this game. Defense was incredible. Goaltending was great. They shut down Vegas in every way that they possibly could. Hopefully that is a continuation throughout the season. I do have concerns because Joey is Joey Decord, but there's a lot of question marks to see, if Grubauer or Matt Murray was in net, how would this game differ? I think we've talked about the fact that, goaltending has always been a concern with the Kraken because we do have our one. We have our goaltending one Tendy in Joey Decord. That B option is very up in the air. We don't know what we're going to expect. We can expect a performance where, we could have Grubauer or Matt Murray save, an incredible amount of, shots and they finish off the game with like a 920 save percentage, or we can see the exact opposite. We don't know what we're going to expect. So I hopefully, this season, I hope we don't have to rely on Joey all too much, especially with the fact that having three goaltenders on the team. I hope that, they can manage that, but that's one of the concerns I have in moving forward on those back-to-back nights. But specifically this night alone, hats off to the team. They did absolutely incredible from start to finish.
Yeah, I have three quick things I want to mention about this game. First being Mitch Marner, who? That's a little callback to before, just throwing out to Derek. I was really happy to see that nothing really came of him. Second, where has Yanni Newman been? He's kind of been an absolute ghost. He hasn't gotten any power play time, and that's kind of where he excelled last season. So a little concerned with what's going on there. That's what we talked about before. It leads me to think when Capo Caco comes back, maybe Yanni Newman's the one that gets the boot. We'll just have to see. And then third, Berkeley Catton is still on the team, but Berkeley Catton is eating nachos in the press box. So very curious to see what's going to happen with him. Sure, getting practice time with the big league squad is good, but at a certain time, we got to weigh our options of what's really benefiting him if he's sitting up there.
I will say one thing about like as much as I do like the fact what Lambert's doing with this team, there's a sacrifice, and I think I don't know if you've noticed it yourselves, but it's a sacrifice where they're playing the veterans more and the younger players are getting less time. Like there has been like Wright's only been playing like an average, I believe, is a 14 minutes a night. I know it's a small sample size of 2 games, but he's averaging 14 minutes a night. Newman's playing like minutes in the first and second, but he's barely playing any time in the third period. Catton's sitting in the press box. Winterton's getting his fair share here and there, but like ultimately, like these games are being played by the veterans. So I feel like they're trying to set a precedence to like begin this season. But at the same time, I hope it doesn't come at the expense of the young players in their development.
Anything on those things, Derek?
I just say that we're 2-0 right now. We've been playing pretty good hockey. So I think whatever we're doing right now, we should stick with it. But I think that's a valid concern that you don't want guys to just be getting cold on the bench, uh, like Newman. But then on the other side of that, maybe it's just that at practice and stuff, the coaching staff knows that certain guys when they're going to be out there, they might be a little more exposed than others. So they're trying to not play them as much as they can. I don't know.
All right, and before we look at our week ahead, Derek, do you have any shovel stories from this week?
Yeah, man, I do. I'm gonna make sure to always have a shovel story for you, okay? But first of all, I wanted to say that this year on the Icebreakers, the ice shoveling crew for the Kraken, we got brand new shoes. They are custom Kraken Brooks Ghost model shoes, okay? And they are available for purchase. They feature an anchor on the back, a logo on the insole, and a fresh wave on the side, as well as being decked out from top to bottom in the Kraken color palette. They are ridiculously comfortable. It felt heavenly to walk around. I've genuinely never felt shoes this comfortable before. So maybe go pick up some Brooks Ghost shoes and pick up the Kraken ones. Um, and they look dope. So just saying, it honestly makes me want to use the shoes to go out and shovel instead of my skates. And I think that's what they were going for this year. So we might transition to that in the future. Who knows? When it comes to the actual shoveling, when you're working on the Kraken Ice shoveling crew, the icebreakers, good shovel stories are usually that nothing eventful happened because we want to be on and off quickly. But however, this week, my position was to go up and down the boards where the player bench is. So I have to go through the players once and then turn around and come right back through them. So I have to get them to move out of my way twice. And it's it's definitely intimidating at first. But I got to bob and weave between the likes of, Marchment, Montour, Dunn, etc. And some highlights were some moderate misting from water ball spray and maybe some spit too. So that's something you got to deal with. Seeing Marchment's tinted visor and electric blues up close and personal, and nearly missing an Aiden Hill paddle to my left hip as I skated by. You got to be on your toes out there. They're not moving for you. You got to move for them. You know what I'm saying? But it was super fun. It's always so fun to be like 10 feet away or a foot away from NHL players, especially some of your favorite guys like Montour. It's just insane. So I'm very appreciative of being able to do that. It's awesome. So I'll keep having more stories, hopefully.
Awesome. Well, we won't get one of those stories next week because in the week ahead, the Kraken are beginning a 6-game road trip with 3 games going down in this week. On Tuesday, we have game 3 against the Canadians. On Thursday, game 4 against the Senators. And Saturday, game 5 against the Maple Leafs. As Derek said, I have a newfound superstition that seems to be working after 2 games. I tweeted out, I've never been a wear the jersey at home while watching kind of guy, but I wore my Jordan Eberle jersey for the first game. And I was like, okay, we got to keep this going. Wore it for the second game, he won. So tomorrow evening, I'm definitely wearing my Jordan Eberle jersey once again. How do we think this week ahead is going to shake out? And do you have any Seattle Kraken based superstitions?
Well, they do it an East Coast road trip, which I'm very excited about because that's no 10 o'clock games for me. That's actual 7 o'clock start times, which means I'm probably going to miss some of it because I never get to sit down at 7 o'clock anymore. But when you look at those three games, Canadians are going to be an interesting game. I don't know how they're actually going to, play against them, but I do think Shane Wright's going to get a goal. He's going to get his first goal of the season, and death stare that logo right into the ground. I think they're going to beat the Senators. I'm not going to this game, so they're going to win it. Like guaranteed, score multiple goals, and they're going to win the game. Saturday's game against the Maple Leafs. I know a lot of people would say the Maple Leafs are going to beat the Kraken hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts. But I think the Kraken have got this. It's going to be like a 5-2 win. Kraken are just going to explode. Mitch Marner, who he doesn't exist anymore. Kraken are here to play. They're going to do. I think they're going to come out of this, out of this 3-game week, 2-0-1. I still don't think they're going to lose in regulation. So positive spin for me here. When it comes to any like anything like on game days for myself, I usually will pop on a Kraken hat, and that's pretty much my go-to. Like Kraken hat goes on basically as soon as I hit my basement office to start my workday. That hat doesn't come off until the game's over.
I mean, honestly, this is a tough road trip coming up, and honestly, a tough kind of start to the season for the Kraken with the teams that we're playing. I think our next home game is against Edmonton, and so it seems like the NHL is just kind of giving us a gauntlet right off the bat here. To be honest, I would be happy if we came away from this stretch of three, 1-1-1, so getting at least 3 points. I think would be good out of this, and if I had to pick, probably beat the Canadians, maybe lose to the Senators, and then overtime loss with the Leafs, something like that. But hopefully, I really want Joey in net against the Senators, because that's a really tough team offensively. And if he is in net, then it does give us a decent shot. It always does. Joey in net always gives us a decent shot of winning the game. Um, like, do you guys think Joey can play all three of these games? Or like, when do you think we're going to see the first non-Joey game played? I think that's a decent question.
I
First
think we're
back to
gonna
back.
go Joey, someone else Joey.
Okay, so you think we're playing someone else against the Senators? Because I'd
I
rather
think
have someone else play against the
I
Canadians.
think I think Joey's playing all three games. I don't think you're going to see Grubauer or Murray unless it's a back to back.
we have a
Wow.
back-to-back the following Monday, Tuesday, I believe.
Wow.
So
So
Wow.
that's when you're going to see Matt Murray or you're going to see
Okay,
Philip
then
Grubauer.
maybe 3-0 in this one.
okay, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a very exciting game. Alex, I'm glad you don't have to stay up past your bedtime. And oh, Derek, do you have any superstition-y things?
I do not. I don't do superstitions.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I didn't either until we went to an 0-0, so we'll have to see what happens. All right, a couple quick hits of hockey news before we get out of here for this week. The Coachella Valley Firebirds started their season last week, and it did not go very well. The team dropped their season opener 5-0 to the San Diego Gulls. They do have two games this week, Friday against the Colorado Eagles and Saturday against the Bakersfield Condors. I don't have much to say about either of these other than I hope that in the Bakerfield Condors game that John Hayden just beats the bricks off of Bo Akey for breaking Capo Caco's hand.
Agreed.
100%. I think a lot of people are going to need to be reminded about this Firebirds team is that they're very young. So it might be a year of learning and developing. So it's not going to be like any of their previous seasons, in my opinion, where you had a lot of vets. This season's definitely going to be one of those pain years where, Capo Caco, no, sorry, not Capo Caco. Coco is going to be your goaltender. So he's going to be your starting goaltender down in Coachella. So you have that, and you have a lot of young players that are going to be vying, to make an impact to see if they can get any time with Seattle this season or possibly next season. But definitely keep an eye on them. Watch games when you can. It's good hockey when they do play.
Awesome. In further prospect updates, 2025 first round pick Jake O'Brien had a pretty stellar weekend. He scored 4 goals and 4 assists in 2 games. We love to see that. We are very excited for that rule change that's going to come next season that lets him bump down to the AHL. So hopefully we get to see more of that as it comes along.
100%. Jake O'Brien is definitely going to be a Firebird next season.
I couldn't tell if Derek got wide-eyed because he was trying to stay awake during Firebirds talk, or he was like, "Whoa, those numbers are crazy."
No, those numbers are, I didn't see that. Those numbers are insane. 8 points in 2 games. You said 4 goals and four
Four
assists in
goals,
two
four
games.
assists. Yep.
Oh my God, that's absolutely insane.
Good on us for continuing to pick centers, hey?
Yeah.
I think it's
Can
working
never
out.
can never do with too many centers.
A couple league-wide things that I thought would be fun to chat about. Quick question for the Zoom room. Who is ready for the free agency 2026 season, which should be one of the most exciting free agent classes in recent memory? Psych, never mind. Following last week's extensions of Kirill Kaprizov and Connor McDavid, two more huge contracts were signed this week. Things started with Vegas's Jack Eichel signing an 8-year, $108 million contract, so that's $13.5 million AAV. And then Winnipeg's Kyle Connor signed a franchise record 8-year, $96 million deal, so that's $12 million a year. So at this rate, we are not going to have anyone really exciting to pick from at free agency. Last season, everyone signed like a few days before, but at least this year they're giving us several months heads up on this batch.
Oh, well, beautifully said.
Yeah. If well, it shows up on Canada Day, so I'm gonna just enjoy my Canada Day.
Maybe the most exciting thing will be just waiting to see what happens with our Kraken players and seeing where they end off. As we talked about a few weeks ago, our guesses where they were going to go. One more monster contract that happened was on Monday morning. The reigning Calder Trophy winner Lane Hudson signed an 8-year, $70.8 million deal. So that's 8.85 million AAV. I think when I see big numbers like this going to a young guy like that, I hope that big dollar signs show up in Shane Wright's eyes. Lastly, we talked about it many times. Looking around the league, there are currently three now undefeated teams after tonight's games. We, of course, have the Kraken, but also the Stars and the Hurricanes. So we will just have to wait and see which team is the last one standing. Go out right now, take a screenshot of the standings because who knows how long it'll be before this happens again. Derek, you looked gobsmacked at that fact that we are one of three that are left.
Because I swear I checked the notes right before and it said four. I
Yeah, well,
swear.
it initially
Did
said
it just
five, and then
change?
Boston lost this afternoon, so I
Yeah.
changed it to four, and then Florida lost tonight, so it's down
Right
to
before we
three.
recorded?
Yeah,
Ah, you got me on that one. Okay. Dang, dude. Okay, yeah. I mean, it'll really, truth will be told once we play Montreal. And honestly, playing Montreal, we have a good chance to remain undefeated here, 3-0-0.
so we play Montreal tomorrow. Dallas plays Minnesota, and Carolina plays the Sharks.
Minnesota
So
and Dallas have a little rivalry thing going on, so Minnesota might win. And who'd you say is playing the Sharks?
Carolina.
Yeah, that's not. Or the Sharks just put up like 7 goals in a game or something against like the Ducks or something.
Yeah, but I think they still lost. They put up like 9 goals for, and
They
they've lost
did. They
both their
did.
games.
Hey,
They
did you
did.
witness that game where against it was it Vegas?
The Vegas game, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
just
yeah,
absolute
yeah,
brutal.
yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this week. We will wait and see next week how things are going to shake out. Derek, as we close things out, can you let everyone know where they can find BTW online?
Yeah, absolutely. But first off, go check out everything we've ever made for merchandise wise on bit.ly/BTW store. We have like some dope Mason Marchment stuff, some dope Joey DeCord stuff, Monty Mania, as featured on the official Kraken and Starbucks game giveaway cup that was given away last year. Go check it out. Go get a sticker or something. Helps us out a ton. And then secondly, go read Heather's articles that we talked about earlier. The link is in the show notes, and you can follow her at Heather Nicole with no E and at the Hockey News W to go see more of her work. And also keep your eyes peeled for more of her PWHL episodes on our feed. Okay, they're gonna be dropping on our feed.
This week, we will find out the PWHL Seattle training roster. So exciting things coming from her very soon, I'm sure.
Let's go. I love that. And then lastly, please drop a follow and a 5-star review on the podcast app of your choosing that you're currently listening to this on. And follow us on all socials. It helps us out a lot. If you could take a second to like or comment on those videos that we post. And you can also keep up with all of our takes on Twitter and Instagram. And I keep telling y'all that the Kraken will be playing come May. So if you are starting to agree with that, go drop a follow at BTWSCA. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you next week?
Yeah.
Perfect.
We going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.